Now from Jerusalem, spokesman for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, David Keys. Mr. Keys, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Prime Minister Netanyahu said in those comments, what we showed, we have no doubt that the Obama administration initiated it, stood behind it, coordinated on the wording, and demanded that it be passed, talking about the UN resolution. The White House says that's nonsense, that they didn't do any of those things. What is the evidence that you all have and willing to share with us this morning that the White House directed this resolution at the UN on Friday?
Well, some of that information is sensitive, and so I can't share it on live TV, but I have seen the information myself with my own eyes, and I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that is exactly what happened. And it's a travesty, and Israel is deeply, deeply disappointed because the historic position of the United States has been to protect Israel at the United Nations, particularly in the Security Council, against these outrageous resolutions. We're disappointed because this resolution actually calls, if you can believe it, the Western Wall occupied Palestinian territory, a place where Jews have yearned to return to, have lived adjacent to, have vaunted as one of our holiest sites for literally thousands of years. According to the United Nations, according to this resolution, that is occupied Palestinian territory. It should give us all pause that a terrorist group like Hamas is celebrating this decision. It's ahistorical, and I think perhaps most damaging, it actually pushes peace much further away. Israel is eager to sit with our Palestinian neighbors and work out an actual peace deal, but tragically and unfortunately they even refuse to sit with us.
So, Mr. Keys, is the White House then lying publicly when it says that it did not direct the UN resolution?
I can't speak for the White House. I can only speak to what I've seen and what I know and what the Prime Minister knows.
But the White House said it had nothing to do with it. Is that a lie?
Ironclad. Well, it's not accurate with the information that I have. That's all I can say about that. And I hope that it soon becomes clear what is being spoken about. But I can tell you, having seen it myself, it is unequivocal that the United States, that the Obama administration, more appropriately, was behind this United Nations resolution, pushed for it, lobbied for it. And it's a real tragedy because we should be working together to advance peace. And I can tell you that the Prime Minister favors two states for two peoples and wants to work out a peace deal, but unfortunately the rejection of the Palestinian Authority, the fact that they are refusing to sit with the Prime Minister, the fact that they are paying anyone who murders an Israeli a monthly salary, let that sink in. The Palestinian government pays a monthly salary to anyone who murders an Israeli. Does that bring peace closer, or does that push it further away? Does the naming of soccer stadiums and schools after mass murders of Israelis bring peace closer or push it further away? I think the answer to that is self-evident.
Even since the passing of the resolution by a 14-0 vote at the UN on Friday, with the United States abstaining, there's been the announcement of 618 additional housing units that will be built in East Jerusalem, on the way to 5,600 more in that same area. Will Israel even recognize this resolution? Does it mean anything to Israel, this 14-0 vote?
Well, no, we're not going to buy this resolution for the simple reason that it's so outrageous, that it's so immoral, that it's so antithetical to peace. You have to understand our actual opposition to this resolution stems not only from its lack of historical understanding about places like the Western Wall, but as we are eager to bring the parties together, as we are eager for peace, we see this as a tremendous step back, not a tremendous step forward. And I hope that at long last the Palestinians will come to recognize a Jewish state, will come to with Israel's Prime Minister. You know, Ramallah is just a few minutes from where I'm sitting. And what a tragedy that President Abbas refuses to come here. When the Prime Minister was at the United Nations, he invited President Abbas to the Knesset. Yeah. He offered to go to the Palestinian parliament in Ramallah. I think all of us deserve better than the continuation of this conflict. Israelis and Palestinians alike deserve to live with peace and dignity, with hope, and the rejection of the Palestinian Authority is tragically dragging this conflict on for far too long.